Let's suppose you have started with high initial demand. This is golden rule number 1. Then you have defended your position as long as you could. This is golden rule number 2. And you have looked for concessions you could get before considering concessions you could make. This is golden rule number 3. Now comes the moment at which you have to consider making concessions on your side. So then you need the 4th golden rule, which says when you have to step back, do it in small and decreasing steps. The first meaning of this is that you should postpone as long as you can before making concession. It has been proven that the soonest you start making concession, the more you will lose at the end of the game. So you must postpone the moments at which you are going to make the first concession. Secondly, you should minimize the concessions, each concession, as much as you can. For instance, don't split the difference, because it would just give your opponent the impression that they should have asked for even more. Try to minimize the importance of any concession you would have to make. Also, along the negotiation process, you should make sure that your concessions get smaller and smaller, because you're sending a signal to your opponent, which is you have done a fantastic job, you have negotiated very well, and now you're getting smaller and smaller concessions, so it's not worth continuing asking for more. It's better to close the deal now. But maybe the most important aspect of this rule is that you should avoid conceding on things that can cost a lot, or things that can cost for a long period of time. And you should try to concede on things that don't cost too much, don't cost too long. So you can say something like, on that very issue, I can do nothing. It means you're shutting a door, but you're leaving other doors open. And this is a very good way of finding the best compromise in which you concede on things that don't cost too much, but that may be very valuable for your opponents and their organization. This is the golden rule number 4. If you have to step back, do it in small and decreasing steps. And then we're coming to the final golden rule number 5, because there's always a risk in a negotiation, which is that you are making more and more concessions, and at the end, you get no deal at all. For example, because your opponent, in fact, was also negotiating with someone else and did a deal with someone else. So this golden rule says you have to lead your opponent towards the conclusion. So some very key phrases, I call these magic phrases, can help. Like, for instance, you are asked to make a concession on a certain issue, and you ask, okay, before discussing that, apart from this very issue, do we have an agreement on all the rest? Because either your opponent will say, oh no, we don't agree on the rest, so you will see the whole list of issues that have to be solved, and you will find good compromises, you will get concessions in return. Or your opponent will say, no, that's the very final thing we have to agree on, and then you can even ask, okay, in case we would find an agreement on that aspect, does it mean we have a deal? And if the person says, well, no, because then I have to discuss with other persons internally, then maybe it's not the right moment to make this concession, because more requests can arise later. So to sum up all this, start with high initial demand, defend your position as long as you can, don't make any concession without getting something in return. If you have to step back, do it in small and decreasing steps, and finally, make sure you lead your opponent towards the conclusion.